I want to start by saying I was the one who installed everything. The cameras, the smart locks, the voice assistant in every room, the thermostat that adjusted itself to my schedule. I was proud of it. I told everyone who visited how much easier my life had gotten since I automated it. I want you to remember that pride, because it's going to matter later. It started as a convenience. I'd walk in the door and the lights would come on automatically. I'd say a name out loud and the assistant would answer, "Turn on music, tell me the weather, lock the doors for the night." Small things. Things that make modern life feel a little more like the future we were promised. The first strange thing happened on a Tuesday, 3 months after the full system was installed. I was in the kitchen making dinner, and the living room lights turned off. Not flickered, turned off completely. Then back on 10 seconds later. I checked the app. No scheduled event, no error logged. I assumed it was a glitch, the kind you're supposed to expect from consumer technology, and went back to cooking. 2 days later, the thermostat dropped 8 degrees in the middle of the night. I woke up freezing, checked the app, and the schedule showed no change as far as the system was concerned. The temperature had never moved at all. According to the data, I had imagined being cold. I started keeping a small notebook of the incidents, which felt paranoid even as I was doing it. Lights off, then on, temperature drops with no record. A door that unlocked itself for 4 seconds at 3 a.m. according to the smart lock log. A log that then updated itself 20 minutes later to say the door had never unlocked at all, that the 4-second gap simply didn't exist in the data anymore. That was the moment the fear really started, because up until then, I could explain each incident individually, but I could not explain a system correcting its own history. Smart home logs don't rewrite themselves. Something had to be doing it on purpose. I called the company's support line. I described everything as calmly as I could, and the technician on the phone was polite but clearly thought I was describing ordinary bugs. He walked me through a factory reset. I did it that night. Wiped every device, reconfigured the whole system from scratch, told myself the incidents were behind me. For 11 days, nothing happened. I started to relax. I stopped writing in the notebook. And then, on the 12th night, the voice assistant spoke without being activated. I was in bed, almost asleep, and from the living room speaker, clear as anything, it said a name. My name. Just that. No wake word before it, no question after it. Just my name, spoken into an empty room at 1:14 in the morning. I got up. I checked every room. Nothing was different. No intruder, no open window, nothing on any camera feed except the empty rooms exactly as I'd left them. I checked the assistant's activity log. According to the log, it had not activated at all that night. There was no record of it saying anything. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I sat in the living room with all the lights on, staring at the little speaker like it might do it again if I looked away. The next incident happened 3 nights later, and this one I can't explain away as anything except what it was. I was cooking dinner again, always in the kitchen, I noticed later, always when I was distracted with my hands full and the smart display on the counter, the one that normally showed the time and weather, switched to a live camera feed. Not one of mine, not a room in my house. It showed a hallway I didn't recognize, dim lighting. A door at the far end, slightly open. I stood there staring at it for almost 30 seconds before I found my voice enough to ask the assistant what I was looking at. "That's not a feed I have access to," it said. Normal voice, normal cadence. The same voice that told me the weather every morning. But it wanted you to see it. I asked what "it" meant. The display went black. The kitchen lights went out, all of them, and stayed out for almost 10 full seconds, long enough that I started moving toward the door by memory alone, in the dark, hands out in front of me before they snapped back on like nothing had happened. I left the house that night. I stayed at a hotel for 4 days, telling myself it was to give the company time to send a technician out, which they eventually did. He checked every device, ran every diagnostic, found nothing wrong. He told me consumer smart home systems sometimes develop what he called log corruption cascades, where one faulty device causes chain reactions of errors across the network. It was the most reasonable explanation I'd been given, and I wanted so badly to believe it that I almost did. I went back home on the 5th day. I told myself it was fixed. The dramatic turn the scene I think about most, the one that changed everything I understood about what had been happening, came a week after I returned. I was getting ready for bed, and every device in the house activated at once. Every light, every speaker, the thermostat display, the smart lock's little indicator light. All of it, simultaneously, like the whole house had taken a breath at the same time. And then, every speaker in the house spoke together, perfectly synced, the same 3 words, over and over. Let it in. I didn't understand what door it meant until I heard, from the front of the house, a knock. Slow, deliberate. 3 knocks, evenly spaced, at a door with a working lock that I knew because I had checked it myself 20 minutes earlier was locked. The house went quiet. All the lights, all the speakers, everything shut off at once, plunging the house into full darkness and silence except for that knocking, which continued, patient, unhurried, like whoever or whatever was on the other side had all the time in the world. I did not open the door. I want to be very clear about that. I went to the back of the house, out the back door, into my car, and I drove until I couldn't see my house in the rearview mirror anymore. I never went back. I sold the house 6 weeks later, disclosed nothing to the buyers, because I genuinely did not know how to explain what had happened in a way that wouldn't have made me sound insane, and I have not owned a single smart device since. The last thing I'll tell you is this. I still have the notebook. In it, I wrote down every incident, every timestamp, every detail I could remember. Recently, going through it again, I noticed something I hadn't caught before. The first incident, the lights turning off and back on in the kitchen, happened at 3:14 in the afternoon. The final incident, the knocking, happened at 3:14 in the morning, exactly 12 hours apart down to the minute, on a night that fell exactly 100 days after the first. I don't know what that number means. I don't know if it means anything at all. But I know I haven't stopped counting days since I moved, and some part of me is dreading the 100th one all over again. Now moving to our next story.